Hey, thanks for checking out our show. Woo! If this is your first episode, Faye and I are two rocket scientists with several degrees in physics,
Ghosts!
and biodeathology, and once a month we answer all of your existential... Faye and I are two gutsy gumshoes, dead set on unveiling the mysterious workings of the darkest of mysterious mysteries and striking terror into the hearts of the city's ne'er-do-wells. Faye and I are death-obsessed and death-anxious slabs of human meat.
I mean, I am. I'm pretty sure you're a demon masquerading in a human skin suit, so technically you're a slab of demon meat.
Is it getting hot in here? Shh, they can hear us.
Join us completely normal humans as we attempt to unravel the complex, boundless, and unknowable mysteries hidden within the dance of life and death that all, mortal life forms experience.
But only once a month and for not much more than 75 minutes tops.
Yeah. Once we edit it down from 3 hours of recording, count yourselves lucky.
Yeah, conservative estimate on the 3 hours.
If you were at the Swamp Meet on September 4th, we hope you enjoyed finding out that you will die of paper cuts, or tripping over a bird, or starving to death in a brunch line. We met so many amazing folks. It was a total blast, and we're thrilled to death to have you here with us.
Yay!
Woo!
Ooh! 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 Ow, 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 ow.
Too much.
Reel it in, sister. All right, on to today's topic, death. Wait, no, life. Well, actually, it's a handy reference guide for how to live as long as possible before dying.
What?
As with many research rabbit holes, this one started with a TED Talk. My Australian friend just mentioned going down the TED Talk rabbit hole, and it's no joke.
It's especially no joke in Australia because everything there is scary and poisonous.
Yeah. Dude, I had this conversation about terrifying Australian creatures a couple of days ago with a total stranger.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend in Australia. Hey, Emma. And I should probably ask her, but I'm kind of scared.
They probably don't even go down rabbit holes there. They probably go down giant scorpion holes or something. Venomous ground-dwelling bird holes. Or even you think it's a rabbit hole, but once you go down it, you realize that it's just a giant mouth.
No!
There's some giant creepy animal living under the ground, and it's so big that it just ate you, and you didn't even realize it until now. Like a tremor. Was Tremor set in Australia?
It should have been.
No, that was in Nevada or something, right? Oh, right. Perfection, Nevada. They should have filmed it in Australia to make it more believable. I only maybe 50% believe that there could be tremors living under the ground right now, but if they had filmed it in Australia, 100%.
Moving that dial. Oof. So, Faye,
Yes.
how old would you like to be when you die?
How old? That's a freaky question. Older than today if you're planning something. I guess it depends on how soon I end up really crotchety and busted. I mean, I'm already pretty crotchety now, so I guess I'd like to live long enough to buy and decorate an opulent haunted manor.
Ooh.
So at the rate I'm going, I guess I need to die at 1,000.
Okay. It doesn't really strike me as the most realistic response, but I guess you're entitled to your opinion.
You asked, sister.
I did. That's accurate. All right, let me rephrase. How old do you think the oldest person on record who ever lived was when they died?
1,000.
Okay. Are you answering in dog years?
I'm answering in vampire years, obviously, which, yes, was a total joke. There's no such thing as vampires, you silly mortals.
Okay. Just gonna skip right on past that weird response. If you had all of the years between now and when you turn 1,000,
Yes.
the death years left to live, how would you spend them?
This is giving me anxiety. Probably eating little cakes.
Okay. Counter question. What if the little cakes shortened your lifespan?
I quit.
Oh. Well, thanks for waiting until we started to quit, at least.
What if the little cakes lengthened my lifespan
Oh.
because they relieved stress and made me happy? Can that be a thing?
Well, keep listening for the answer to that question and many more in this episode on longevity.
If you ruin little cakes for me, so help me. Death party!
Now, what do you think the factors are that people who live longest have in common?
They sold their soul to the devil at a crossroads at midnight.
Interesting. I wonder if you think that leaves like a really high number of centenarians or lower?
Higher. Well, but they're all politicians. Except me. I just did it to learn guitar.
Oh, that's a pretty high price. Are you an expert guitar player
I guess I could be if I tried. I kind of decided after that it wasn't really for me. You know, the soul is just like a sunk cost at this point.
now? Sure.
Okay, let's see. I'm guessing the people who live the longest get lots of good rest and maybe they stay out of the direct sun or something, and human blood.
Like they have human blood?
No, they drink it, so, you know, they get lots of nutrient-dense calories.
No. It sounds like you're talking about vampires again.
There's no such thing as vampires.
Okay. Yeah, let's just move on from there. What do you think the factors are that mortals who live longest have in common?
Okay. I think they probably, like, all live in Japan, so I'm screwed. Also, they probably eat only, like, spinach and Brussels sprouts all the time and have solid genetics, and, like, maybe they jog or do Tai Chi or something.
Okay.
How close am I? Do I win the trip to Tahiti or the washer-dryer set? How about this fabulous jet ski?
Although longevity has been studied scientifically for well over a century, the topic of human lifespan, quantified by the maximum reported age at death, also known as MRAD.
This sounds like math.
It's not math.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Or it is, but you don't have to do it. The topic of human lifespan, MRAD, has been intensively investigated only since the 1990s, since The Little Mermaid was a thing. It was in 1997 that the lifespan record was set by Jean Calment of France. Jean Calment of France was 122 years and 164 days old.
I mean, it's no 1,000 years old, but that's impressive.
Yes, it's worth mentioning here that the person is the oldest on record. So, according to an article from Demographic Research, which you know is on my coffee table right now, not. Despite substantial research before 2010, statistical analyses of supercentenarians, those who lived to at least the age of 110, were plagued by age attainment bias, which is defined as the tendency of advanced age people to exaggerate or round up their age. Do you know what this means?
Is that people claiming to be older than they really are, so you think they're super successful at life? Mm-hmm. It's the opposite of people who are like 65 but say they're 41.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be me, but just because I can never remember how old I am. So if the number would just stop changing, I could memorize it.
Yeah. Yes. To answer your question, yes.
Ha-ha!
It means old people are liars.
I'm right!
Just...
That's harsh.
They're all liars.
If you're old and you're listening, you're a liar.
You're a liar.
How dare you?
Why would you do that to us? Just because they've got pockets full of Werthers
Werther's.
and their skin is all soft and squishy like a comfy little beanbag chair.
Oh, I don't want squishy beanbag chair skin.
Well, it is. I'm telling you, I've touched a lot of them for research purposes.
I hope you've touched them in ways that were consensual.
Of course.
I'm just imagining you in the park sneaking up on some unsuspecting little old person sitting on a bench, just enjoying their day when here you come, slowly sliding from the other end of the bench, closer and closer until you're sidled right up next to them, and then here comes your finger, slowly poking them in the cheek over and over, going, so soft, so comfy, would make a good beanbag chair. Until they call 911 on you.
Shades of Buffalo Bill over there.
No! What did we talk about? No serial killers. Ooh.
Okay, fine. But we're going to lose half of our male listeners.
Ooh.
I'm going to listen to this when I'm 70 and be like, what an asshole. I'm just kidding. I'll be dead. Anyway, just because... I'm saying, just because they seem harmless doesn't mean you should start snuggling up to them all. Tell me about the good old days. No! If they're lying about their age, surely they are lying about 100% of every other subject they want to talk to you about.
Like my ex-boyfriend.
Don't trust them as far as you can throw them.
I don't know if I could lift one, let alone throw one.
Well, I don't recommend you attempting to throw them. They can be very fragile, and you can't afford the insurance payments, frankly.
I'm glad you said that, because I haven't tried to throw one yet, and I was wondering about that part.
Yeah, well, the point of this indictment of untrustworthy old people is to say that it was hard taking them at their word regarding their age up until pretty recently.
Because they are lying liars.
Yeah. The 122 years and 164 days record is impressive, and it's well documented, although there is a Smithsonian article that suggests that she may have only lived to the age of 99 in 1997.
Lies.
And the person claiming to be Jean Calment was none other than her daughter.
Lies!
Why would her daughter pretend to be her own mother? Why does anyone do anything weird?
Maybe she's just a f***ing weirdo? I'm past the point of thinking there is rhyme or reason to half the people do anymore.
Good answer, but the correct one was to avoid inheritance taxes, of course.
Oh, smart.
No, don't encourage people to commit tax fraud.
We didn't tell you to do that.
Wink.
Do it. It's pretty smart, but we didn't tell you to do it.
Didn't hear it from us. And we'll burn every copy of this podcast if you try to prove otherwise. Okay, well, either way, I'll save you the trouble of reading the article and tell you that the author did find the research that Jeanne was actually her own daughter to be largely circumstantial. All right, so good news. It likely was the real Jeanne that lived to be 102 and a half.
Yeah. You would think that if her visual appearance suddenly jumped back in time 20 years or so, that somebody would notice.
Ever heard of makeup?
I have in episode 3,
5,
2,
5.
1, 5.
It was 5.
And they would have to hide the mother's body if she was secretly dead.
Secretly dead.
And then account for the suddenly missing daughter's whereabouts, which I love this idea because what an elaborate plan to pull off. But I don't think they could have gotten away with it, really. Well, now I'm less impressed with the daughter, but more impressed with the mother, so it balances out, I guess.
Now, getting back to the TED Talk that I mentioned earlier, Julianne Holt Lundstad?
Sure.
A researcher at Brigham Young University studied tens of thousands of middle-aged people, and she looked at every aspect of their lifestyle. Their diet, their exercise, their marital status, how often they went to the doctor, whether they smoked or drank, etc. She recorded all of this, and then she and her colleagues waited for 7 years to see who was left on the old shuffleboard court. Is that a thing old people still do, or is it like young people where they have to come up with new hobbies to confuse their friends and fill them with FOMO when they aren't also familiar with the new hobbies?
I don't know about everyone else, but I just like anachronistic hobbies. You can wear a long flowy skirt and drink tea while you're playing croquet or shuffleboard,
True.
but there's nothing fashionably quaint about skydiving or whatever kids do for thrills these days. If I can't have a nice little cup of tea while I'm participating in a sport, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's what makes a sport, I think.
Exactly.
The most sporting thing involved. Fair point. That's always my first question when considering whether or not to partake in a new hobby. May I sip tea while participating? No? Well then, stuff it, skydiver.
Yeah.
If I didn't know any better, I'd say you were trying to suck the life out of people, not reinvigorate them with a novel way to get some kicks.
False accusations. I want my attorney present.
No, what? No. The skydiver, not you.
Oh, okay. I thought you blew my cover for a sec.
And of all the people left standing after 7 years at this Brigham Young University research study. So, looking at the data in her summary, when going from the least powerful predictors up to the strongest, all right, at the bottom of the list, we've got clean air. It's great, but it doesn't actually predict how long you're going to live.
Oh, good. I've been binging It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and Charlie's making huffing paint look really fun.
Whoa, she's just kidding there. Don't huff paint, kids. There's that whole actually killing brain cells component, which always made it quite unappealing to yours truly. They don't grow back, folks.
Oh!
Whether you have hypertension treated is good, but still not a strong predictor of how long you're going to live. Whether you're lean or overweight. Guess what? You can stop feeling guilty about this, because it's only in third place. How much exercise you get is next, still only a moderate predictor.
Yes.
Whether you've had a cardiac event and you're in rehab and exercising. Okay, this is getting up into the strongest predictors now.
Wait, I'm supposed to have had a cardiac event and be in rehab?
Yeah, make sure you have a cardiac event by the age of 40.
Well, that's up.
45. No. Whether you've had a flu vaccine. So the TED Talk presenter noted that the flu vaccine made it higher on the list than doing exercise, which is pretty mind-blowing.
God damn. Am I going to have to get flu shots now? I never get them anymore because I always have a week-long reaction to them where I just feel like a pile of poo.
Ew.
But if it will make me immortal, I'll have to rethink my approach. I guess that makes sense. Actually, the last time I got one, the pharmacist said that each year you get when you make new antibodies. Oh. And so after a lifetime of getting the shots, you have just a ton of different antibodies for all these different strains. And so you have to worry about it when you're old, but by then you've like built up all this good in your blood. So, damn it! Now I'm thinking about it like I'll be protecting 90-year-old me if I get the shots now. Because 90-year-old me is going to be frail as f***.
Yeah. 90-year-old you is going to thank now age you for making the podcast that literally became a lifesaver. Not that I've been known to be grandiose.
Sure.
Anyway, let's get back to the longevity predictors, continuing with the moderately strong ones to the strongest.
Right.
Whether you were drinking and quit, or whether you're a moderate drinker. I don't seems a little ambiguous there.
I don't understand.
Moving on. Whether you don't smoke, or if you did, whether you quit. And getting towards the top predictors are both features of your social life. First, close relationships. These are the people that you can call on for a loan if you need money suddenly, or who will take you to the hospital because you took out a loan and then you couldn't pay it back. Or who will sit with you if you're having an existential crisis, if you're in despair. Those people, that little clutch of people, are a strong predictor, if you have them, of how long you'll live.
Yeah, because if you bash yourself up and need a ride to the hospital and everyone in the room is like, we're not that close.
And then there's this other fairly surprising indicator, which is called social integration. So this means how much you interact with people as you move through your day. How many people do you talk to?
And are they serial killers? That's probably at the top of the list, but nobody talks about it. Like, don't be a casual acquaintance of a bunch of serial killers.
Oh, you say that like it's a bad thing. It is a bad thing.
Okay, I was wondering about you for a second.
Yeah, okay. This is referring to both your weak and strong bonds. So not just the people you're really close to who mean a lot to you, but like, do you talk to the guy every day who makes your coffee at the...
Yeah, because he might be a serial killer, but if you're nice and tip him, he might let you live.
Or you might end up like Anne Rule and write a hit novel based on your befriending him.
So then you make a bunch of money and you can buy healthier food to keep you alive longer.
Sure.
Like human blood.
Ew. Anyway, Do you talk to the postman? Great segue. Do you talk to the woman who walks by your house every day with her dog?
No, she's a serial killer for sure.
Don't you have a dog? Aren't you a woman with a... Do you... Do you play bridge or poker? Have a book club?
Hell no.
Those interactions are one of the strongest predictors of how long you'll live. Yeah, this is kind of upsetting as it really brings the hammer down on my plan of living in a dank and moldering, stony outcropping by the edge of a stagnant lake, shrouded in mystery and the smells of death and decay.
Well, as long as it's situated by a crumbling stone tower, encircled by a pit of black vipers in the middle of a haunted wood, I'll keep you company and we can have a book club. Loophole!
Oh my god! Do we need to make a blood pact right now? I feel like you're definitely good for it without one.
My blood doesn't bind me to follow through on pacts. It's part of the whole vampiric entity thing, but I'm good for it. I don't have a whole lot going on right now.
Okay, I'm fine with taking this recording as a binding contract. J-Dog, you're our engineer / editor / moral compass / censorer. Do you mind acting as our lawyer too while you're at it?
My lawyer advised against it.
Great. That all counts as legally binding in my human skin-bound lawyering book.
Bound in the skin of lawyers.
Oh, gross. Allegedly bound in human skin. Could be pleather. Sorry, vegans. We'll get back to you later. Because I'm not the most social, extroverted person, I dug around and I did some more research trying to find out some way to get around this highly inconvenient social integration factor.
What if you just have lots of ghosts in your house? Does that count? I collect Ouija boards and I can make that happen.
Another loophole!
I call it a planchette hole.
So I went to a library recently, and I don't know if librarians were fully excited to get back to work or like talk to people in person again or whatever, but the librarian I encountered while looking for books for this episode was very eager to help me.
There you go. You conversed with a human.
Oh.
Mission accomplished.
Yes! Go me! And go librarians! I'm taking this minute to shout out librarians because they don't get a lot of acknowledgement, but man, are they great to have around.
They're in Portland. I think they get a lot of acknowledgement,
They
actually.
f***ing better because they deserve it. Every last bit of it. I had to resort to doing research for our earlier episodes on the internet. Can you believe it? Do you know what kind of piss and vinegar is on the internet these days?
Shh. We're the piss and vinegar on the internet these days.
Oh, yeah. Well, I meant more like every website that you think has a thing you want or like useful reviews for stuff is really just a shell of a website created specifically for capturing affiliate link money. Ugh.
I tried searching for human blood on the internet the other day, and it was a nightmare.
Okay. Yeah. Anyway, the internet without net neutrality is not great for research, was my point.
I forgot what it was like in that little window where we could search for stuff and not just get a bunch of targeted ad trash.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm leaving it to librarians from now on. Thanks, librarians. The librarian in question found me some books on longevity, and imagine my shock and surprise when I only got like 20 pages into one of them and already had all the answers to how to live longer than anyone else ever. In the age of clickbait, can you imagine reading a tiny fraction of a thing just to have the reason you started reading it spelled out for you immediately? And it's the most satisfying, attainable answer on top of it.
Nope. I can't even look up a recipe on how to boil an egg without reading 6 chapters about someone's grandma and how
Yep.
she made the best eggs. I just stopped cooking eventually because every time it happens, it takes a year off my lifespan.
As it turns out, there are places in the world with high concentrations of 100-year-olds and clusters of people who reached old age without conditions like heart problems, obesity, cancer, or diabetes.
Not in America, I'm guessing.
Well, we'll answer that question shortly, dear Faye. These areas are known as blue zones.
What does the blue signify?
Apparently, someone just like circled those places on a map once in blue ink. You're welcome.
Okay, that's disappointing. Was one of them Japan?
One of them was Okinawa, Japan.
Knew it.
You did. Called it up at the top at the beginning of this legally binding episode. The others were Icaria, Greece, Sardinia, Italy, the Nicoya Peninsula of Costa Rica, and, if you can even believe this motherfucking shit, Loma Linda, California.
Wait, America? Someone's messing with those numbers. Hold on. Okay, I had to look that one up and then it made more sense. There are like 12 top-notch old folks homes and a top-of-the-line hospital in Loma Linda, which is less than 8 square miles. And it's home to one of the largest concentrations of Seventh-day Adventists in the world who eat almost entirely vegetarian, unprocessed diets, don't drink alcohol or caffeine, and have all kinds of other practices that support good health.
Aha! Shelve that for later because most of those things are advisable for someone wanting to live a long, healthy life. And one of those is inaccurately vilified.
Oh, which one? Wait, we're back to ruining little cakes for me, aren't we?
I never said this episode would change your life for the better. I said it could be a lifesaver. Now, quality of life is a whole nother topic, sister. You cannot have your cake and eat it too.
Fine, I am content to eat the cake, but not have the cake and live forever.
Wait, are you saying halve, like you won't cut the cake in half?
Loophole!
According to the book The Blue Zone's Solution, the following are the 9 facets of life that old-ass people living in these blue zones shared.
Okay, wait. Okay. I've got a box of tissues ready so I can cry about how I'm doing everything wrong and die tomorrow.
Perfect. You are amply prepared. If you don't have a box of tissues, go ahead and pause this, and then we'll get right back into it. You've unpaused it. Okay, here we go. Moving naturally. According to multiple resources, you don't have to bench press the weight of your grandpappy to get health benefits from exercise.
Well, that's a blessing. I don't even know where he's buried.
Ho! Dark humor, folks. We have it.
We're just, here to be vulnerable with you, to hold space for folks to heal from loss and hold a candle to those dark corners of the mind where fear and anxiety about the unknown dwell. And also we're here to just make really unforgivably crude or just plain bad jokes about all of that.
Yeah, that's pretty much the show in a nutshell there. Yeah. Speaking of nuts, we'll get back to those later. Spoiler alert.
I heard you talking about me.
Olympic athletes, presumably some of the world's healthiest individuals, experience mortality similar to the world population at large. So you don't have to exercise intensely, but you can find other excuses to say, walk a little bit instead of driving. Take the stairs instead of the elevator. Blah, blah, blah. You know what this is by now. I think I'm doing pretty good on this one. I got the smartwatch thingy, and it basically changed my life. The whole gamifying moving thing works like a charm.
I've seen you waving your arms
I just thrash until it makes the little meter go up, and then I call it motherfucking good, and I live forever. Basically, the idea here is that every time you need to go somewhere, it's an excuse to walk. Or I'm going to go ahead and ad-lib this, bike.
Well, my knees are 1,000 years old every other week, so walking is not great for me.
1,000 years old every other week. Oh.
Yeah.
And then the other weeks.
Then there's sort of all right.
900 years old.
But then the next one, 1,000 years old. So I'll be over here pondering loopholes, but maybe I'll have better luck with the next one. What's number 2? What's the next one?
Okay, number 2, purpose. Not to be confused with porpoise. In both the Nicoyan Peninsula of Costa Rica and Okinawa, Japan, they have a saying that translates to why I wake up in the morning. So what this means is you have to have a sense of purpose, and that sense of purpose comes, to the dismay of many Americans, no doubt, beyond work. I saw something recently about how your job isn't going to go to your funeral, and I was like, damn, man, That's cold.
Unless you're a florist, or if you're the dude that makes coffins.
Oh, I can't help but notice your fixation on loopholes this episode.
I'm just not gonna stop eating snacks, is all I'm saying. When I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I think of. Yes, I'm awake. Now I can drink more tea and eat little pastries. Wait, so maybe tea is my sense of purpose.
Well, maybe it is.
Loophole.
Finding your sense of purpose doesn't have to be through your career or tea, if that's not your thing, just for other people,
It
not
has
us.
to be tea. It doesn't matter.
It can be found in your hobbies, the volunteer organizations to which you donate your time, the garden in your backyard. Hobbies. Yep, got a couple of those. You're actually listening to one right now, so feeling better about this. But we spend all this time competing and investing time and energy into our jobs, sometimes to the detriment of our family and social lives. And for what? Something about being able to put a roof over our heads. What a waste!
I like the roof over my head, though. It's covered in moss.
Oh,
And it keeps the sun out so I don't burst into flames.
you know, starting to get a little suspicious about this vampire thing. Never really taken a good look at your teeth or your drinking habits.
Oh, I had braces when I was younger, so they look normal now. And we prefer the term vampiric entity, if you don't mind. Vampires are played out.
Well, I don't have a great solution to needing a roof over your head. You got to work to afford necessities. I guess my advice is just get the best paying, least stressful job you can. Because guess what else is on this list? Yeah, don't let your job take over your life, man. If you even have the option, because wages in this country are a joke.
This is all sounding like a lost cause for our generation of Americans.
I blame Reagan.
I blame Reagan, too. I guess the upside is I can eat all the little cakes I want because I don't have much to lose.
Oh, there you go.
Eating little cakes gives my life a sense of purpose.
All right, well, we got that one covered, and it's a bummer. So, all right, on to principle number 3. Slow down.
You can't make me.
Please? I use the magic word. Take time for yourself. In other words, we've arrived at the familiar stress will kill you moral of the story. Stress causes chronic inflammation, which is associated with all major age-related diseases.
I'm doomed.
Yeah. If that stresses you out as much as it does me, hey, let's hang out and die comparatively young together, I guess. Because apparently people with panic disorder are and just flat out on this one. Cool. 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 Religious types in the California blue zone pray.
Nope.
Don't worry, there's other options.
Okay, phew.
The Greek blue zoners nap,
Now you're talking.
and people in blue zone Japan take time every day to remember their ancestors.
Oh, I like that one. It's so wholesome.
Yeah, and then in Sardinia they have happy hour.
Wait, that's one of the options?
Yeah, I was pretty surprised at that one too.
Okay.
We'll get back to that later. People in blue zones also, and we're on to number 4 now, mind the 80% rule. All right, I'm not going to sugarcoat this one, folks. The 80% rule sucks. It sucks. There's a 2,500-year-old Confucian mantra that the Japanese blue zoners use before meals, which I'm about to pronounce as it is spelled. So, harahachi bu. Boo?
A ghost.
Or maybe it's This mantra is a reminder for them to stop eating when their stomachs are full.
Oh, okay. So it's maybe pronounced like the sound you make when you ate too much?
Yeah, I worry how this information is going to affect my friends who are still struggling through an eating disorder. Because it's not an excuse to stop eating. Okay, your loving death party friends want you to eat.
Don't drive your car without gas and don't haunt your body without calories. Wait. Don't drive your car without gas unless it's electric.
Ah.
Then do
Yeah.
drive it without gas, but still eat. But
Yes. Strong moral to that story. Well done. It's more of an indictment against something that I think we Americans are all too guilty of: overeating. Now, there's actually a part in the book where they're like, hey, listen, do you overeat? Do you eat the wrong things? Guess what? It's not your fault. It's because American societies or small towns, whatever, are set up. Basically, the deck is stacked against you. So when there's a fast food joint on every corner and there's no healthy meal options, what are you going to do? Eat the wrong food, shorten your life by half, whatever. So I did like that part of the book. But yeah, many of our towns and cities are not set up like blue zones are, and they have fast food joints on every corner,
right.
which I just said, but here's another option. Some of them completely lacking in healthy fast food restaurants, unlike in Portland, where we have vegan fast food restaurants. The 80% rule says stop eating when you're 80% full. So don't keep going until you're uncomfortable. And then also part of it is to make more of your own meals, even if that means learning how to make a handful of meals and just, making them repeatedly. One study found the caloric intakes of people who ate out wound up averaging 275 calories more per day than people who ate at home.
Yeah, because it's way more yummy, so you eat more.
Yeah. Well, they do also put addictive stuff in the food so that you want more of it. And,
Right.
fat and calories.
Yeah, but also when I cook, it's just not good.
If you're not good at cooking, that's a real kick in the old teeth as far as this one goes. So if you eat out a lot, stop it. Stop it.
No,
Just stop.
you can't make me.
Making food at home not only tends to result in healthier meals consumed, but it actually burns calories too. Sounds ridiculous, right? But wait. Remember, these 100-year-old people are not marathon runners or power lifters. They don't schedule 90 minutes of spinning classes into their days. Nay, they get a little bit of exercise here and there, like raking the leaves instead of leaf blowing, which burns calories as well as saves money that would have been spent on gasoline, as well as reduces air pollution, as well as keeps your neighbors from daydreaming about all the different ways to murder you because you keep waking them up before 8 a.m. on a motherfucking Saturday morning, you vile, inconsiderate.
Yeah, those things are pretty terrible to listen to, and those guys are doing manual labor, so they will torment us with the sounds of leaf blowing into their hundreds.
No. Anyway, the part that I especially hate about the 80% rule is that apparently those goody two-shoeses in the blue zones eat their smallest meal by early evening, and then they stop eating until the following day.
Oh, hell no. I eat ramen at midnight like a gremlin, and nobody's gonna stop me.
Yeah, the only way this could work for me is if I go to sleep 2 hours after eating that last meal. Yeah. Some of them eat breakfast as their biggest meal. My food habits are the complete opposite of these long-living motherfuckers, and I am over the moon incensed, which means my stress levels are up, which means I'm causing chronic inflammation. No. What if everyone who took this book out from the library died within 4 years?
Okay, bye.
What if we researched the book sales for this book, which is obviously a tool of malicious forces bent on creating chaos and upheaval in this, our mortal coil? And in fact, everyone who reads it gets a spike in their cortisol levels and dies of one of those major age-related diseases.
That would make more sense to me, actually, than any of this.
What if it's like The Ring, but analog?
Don't mention that movie. That stupid piece of movie. It took 8 years off of my lifespan.
Oh.
You want to know how to live a long life? Don't go see that movie. And don't talk about it around me or I'll shorten your lifespan.
Whoa. Skipping ahead. On to number 5. Okay, and surely if you can only eat until you're 80% full, then restricting your food intake at least has the trade-off of getting to eat whatever you want, right? Right?
I'm not falling for that one.
Wrong.
Yep.
Okay, excuse me. Unless you freaking like beans and
Yeah, and you better like both, because the former will precipitate the latter.
Ugh. Because guess what blue zoners mostly eat? Motherfucking legumes.
Ew.
All right, vegans, go ahead and assume an erect posture on your high horses because you win this round. Meat is only ever eaten slightly more than once a week, and for the number of times it's eaten, multiplied by the portion size, that's right, I did some math, we're talking about 20 ounces per month. That's like the size of a petite steak at a diet restaurant in Texas. Just kidding, y'all. Diet restaurants aren't a thing in Texas. 20 ounces of meat. You'd have to order that off the kids' menu in Texas. They'd have to cut your steak off from someone else's steak who sent it back because it was too rare or something. You can scrape a 20-ounce steak off of your shoe if you walk past a barbecue joint in Texas. I heard they rain from the sky, and that's just a sprinkling. Imagine what a Texas downpour is like. The size of those steaks. Okay, I've talked a lot about steaks here.
Well, this is going to be tough. I don't often see steak on kids' menus, but maybe somewhere around here has that option. Then I can get around having my life cut short while still eating all the meat I want, because according to the rules, it doesn't count if it's off the kids' menu. Ta-da!
No, that's not really how that...
No backsies. This podcast is a binding contract. I get to eat kid steaks and live forever. Kid steaks. Wait, I feel like I'm not 100% clear on how this works.
Clearly.
So, is it steaks made for children or out of children?
Okay, listen. This one doesn't actually worry too much because I have drastically reduced my meat intake slowly over the years.
La-dee-da.
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
going to switch to eating child steaks. So there.
You might be alone in that one, at least between the two of us. Can't speak for everyone. Yeah, I tried being vegetarian for like 3 years, and it didn't really work out for me, but I was used to having meat with most of my meals at one point, and now I'm mindful of not having it more than one meal a day, and a lot of the time, I don't even have it every day. So if we're eating in line with the Blue Zone's guidelines, we got to eat meat no more than twice a week. So bust out those falafel recipes, folks. The blender does all the work. It's not really that much effort. But bad news for vegans. A study of 96,000 Americans found that pescatarians lived longer than vegans or meat eaters. So just make sure to eat fish that isn't high in mercury or PCBs, and it's going to be tiny little fish, and you can't have scavenger fish, and also you can't eat too much fish, and also there's so many rules. I can't keep up with all the rules.
Fun.
So we've thoroughly established how much the 80% rule sucks. So good news for the 6th guideline, which is, what did we talk about? Seventh-day Adventists don't do that they're actually wrong about. Be a moderate drinker. Again, the key word is moderate. So spring break binge drinking is not what we're talking about here. Apparently abstaining is not the thing either, which kind of makes me wonder who's funding this research.
Big wine cooler, that's who.
I'll drink to that.
This can't be true. What the f***? This is the only one I thought I had in the bag.
Well, you don't, missy. According to the Blue Zone solution, moderate drinkers actually live longer than non-drinkers.
That's what Big Wine Cooler would have you believe anyway.
Yeah. They actually recommend 1 to 2 glasses per day with friends and or food. No, crying in your absinthe in a darkened Victorian walk-up does not qualify.
Foiled again!
Saving them all for the weekend and binge drinking your allotment for the week ain't the thing either.
There goes my new plan of slamming 16 absinthes back to back.
Yeah, sorry to rain on that parade, but it's kind of unfathomable to me that this one made the cut, but maybe that's because I know so many alcoholics. If you're trying to drink so much that you wind up pickling your organs, bad news. That will actually hinder their functionalities, not make them last longer.
No. So the phrase all things in moderation doesn't mean like be moderate about all the things you do. It's more like you have to do all the things, but moderately. What if I don't really like alcohol? It gives me a headache the next day. I hate this episode.
Well, sure hope you're not speaking on behalf of our audience here.
They're probably all vegans who drink moderately and like beans or some shit. I'll be the only one who's spiteful and dead. It's fine.
No. All right, let's just forge ahead to number 7. Gonna say this one is just a little bit awkward, so I'm just gonna rip that bandage right off. You gotta dump those toxic friends.
But all my friends are toxic. It said not to be a loner, so which one is it?
I'm not sure whether to be offended or flattered. On a related note, a customer called me the devil a couple of nights ago.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Were you like, no, I'm just a lesser demon? Or did you just let them think you were the devil?
I mean, what's that line in Ghostbusters? If someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes. To quote the book, research shows that smoking, obesity, happiness, and even loneliness are contagious. Yeah, that last one seems like a non sequitur. So if you find someone who's lonely and then you befriend them, it will make you more lonely? Sounds like someone got the definition of loneliness wrong. Ugh, if only they had a dictionary. No, but seriously, I can't wrap my brain around that one, and it's making me sad to think about the possibilities. So let's move on.
Well, cut it out, because if happiness is contagious, then I might catch the sads from you, and then where will we be? This is probably the only one on the list that I feel like I'm actually doing good in. If you're a new listener from the Bay Area, California, and you found out about us because you saw one of our little green skull balloon flyers, you have our amazing friends and street team, Tiffany and Denise, to thank.
Yay!
From building masterfully engineered sheet forts to operating heavy machinery and flying planes like Amelia motherfucking Earhart, except for the disappearing part. From saving actual motherfucking lives to standing on a beach covered in washed up dead sea life and screaming, "These are my gifts!" These ladies have it all, and they are the best friends a gal could hope for.
Thank you for being a friend.
All right. We're doing pretty good on number 7. Now, number 8.
Finally, I got one.
This one is gonna sink you way back down again. It's community. 258 of the 263 centenarians in these blue zones. So over 98% of them for anyone who flunked out of advanced algebra.
That's just basic math, actually.
Oh, we're part of a faith-based community. Loophole.
Finally.
Paganism and Satanism are faith-based communities, right?
Yes.
There's a solid argument there because the denomination actually wasn't a significant factor in longevity. But the research showed people that went to faith-based services roughly every week had longer lifespans. So, yeah, how's your scorecard doing? Because at this rate, I'm convinced I'm keeling over in like 3 years or so.
So you're saying that if I finally start my snake cult, that I'll live longer? I mean, we were going to have some incantations for that anyways, but it's backed up by science? There's hope for me yet.
Just a small tinkling of hope in an otherwise dark and blackened sky.
Can't wait for number 9 to smash that tiny shred of hope for me.
Here we go. 9 is the last one. Quick recap, right, before we hammer out number 9.
Okay.
All right. What do 90 to 100-year-olds have in common, and how can you hope to follow in their longevity footsteps? There are 9 points. 1, move naturally. 2, have a sense of purpose. 3, manage stress. 4, don't eat to the point of fullness at mealtimes and eat the smallest meal by early evening. 5, mother-f***ing legumes. 6, drink moderately. 7, 7, hang out with other people who follow these tenets and will also live forever. 8, attend regular faith-based services. And finally, number 9. This is a major one in terms of it being a lot to ask, and a whole lot of time and energy is spent on this one. Any guesses?
Probably something horrible like squirting out babies, which, if that's the case, then this whole thing is a joke because I know for a fact those things suck vitality like Hoover vacuums. It takes a vampiric entity to know one. I've also taken steps to never get saddled with one, so if that's where you're going with this, then I guess I'll start building my tomb now. I want to get to enjoy it for a bit before I go anyway.
Yeah, gotta appreciate a woman committed to building her own tomb. That's a keeper there, folks. Yes, Faye, my dear, you are correct. Squirting out babies and then taking care of them forever so that they will be beholden to you and take care of you forever when you are too old and frail to do it yourself.
Gross.
So, emotional manipulation, or some call it love or whatever. Either method will get you there in the end.
But what if you go through all the trouble to have kids and then they're complete jerks?
Well, with any luck, they'll kill you and you won't have to worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, so number 9 is putting loved ones first. That means living with or near elder relatives and caring for them.
Oh, cha-ching. I did that one twice.
Good, good. Committing to a life partner, which adds up to 3 years of life expectancy. And raising your children lovingly so that they lovingly caretake you as you age. With love. And always feel free to replace the word love with the term emotionally manipulate as your personal brand of cynicism allows.
Oh, yeah. I have one of those generic positivity signs over my sink that says, live, laugh, emotionally manipulate. Perfect.
Yeah. Of course, I'm biased as a grown-ass childless adult that this step is crucial for longevity. So yeah, I'm going to be cynical about it. But I do have a centenarian on either side of my family tree, so I've got the genetic component down.
Well, la-dee-da. Rub it in my face already. My genes are bullshit, so I don't even have to worry about any of this because I'll probably be dead at 60 no matter what I do.
That's the spirit. Still, it would be nice, even if I am going to die young, to not have disease-riddled years before me.
I'm just hoping to keep most of my teeth at this point. They can be in a jar on a shelf. I'm not picky.
Yeah, it's important to have goals. Gives you a sense of purpose, which is principle number 2.
I wake up every morning thinking, gee, I hope I get to keep some of my teeth in a jar.
Wow, such a lofty ambition. So if you've been listening to this thinking, but what about me?
But what about us?
I like to do nothing but eat red meat while smoking and socializing online with my toxic friends.
Pretty much.
Good news. Blue zones have been artificially created. Yes, one such zone exists in a region in far eastern Finland. The zone had male residents with higher serum cholesterol levels than any other population in the world at the time. Blood pressure rates were startlingly high, as was death by heart disease, with men often dying from heart attacks at the age of 40 and 50.
There goes all our male listeners.
Again. A public health awareness campaign was launched that focused on spreading nutritional messages through different channels in the community. Hundreds of newspaper articles were published. 100,000 leaflets were distributed. Hundreds of training seminars were organized for healthcare workers, catering personnel, and the public. Diet was discussed in meetings attended by over 12,000 participants. Local housewives associations organized hundreds of special parties of long life, focusing on cooking and eating healthy food.
So, beans again?
Motherfucking beans. Squintillions of beans were thrown through open windows into willing participants' mouths. I didn't actually read that anywhere, but I think it can be assumed.
What is with the bean obsession already? Is this book written by Big Brother Bean? Is this all some ploy to stabilize overinflated beanstalks?
Oh,
Beanstalks! I didn't even do that one on purpose.
stop it. You're out of control. So, yeah, back to Finland. Special training meetings were organized to change the diet and mass catering at workplaces, schools, hospitals, and restaurants. Smoking cessation models were set up by nurses, and the list goes on. Any hoozle, so long story less long.
That's not a thing that we do.
If a whole region in Finland can change in 5 years, We can do it too, damn it.
Well, that's some organizational skills right there. I don't know that we have our that much together, but it's nice to think someone somewhere does.
Oh, yeah. Email us if you want to start your own Blue Zone in your community, and we'll email you back a link to where to buy the book and say, "Okay, good luck with all that." Let us
Pretty
know when
much.
Let us know when it's done and we'll come visit. So if at this point you're looking for little bite-sized chunks of wisdom to help you get started on a bluer way of life,
Nah, I'll just savor my tiny cakes and cut out early.
anyone else that might be interested, one simple thing the book suggests is to wear a blue wristband or take a moment before you eat to appreciate the meal before you. So pausing before eating makes the meal a time to enjoy, relax, and release stress. And if you go the blue wristband route, research shows that if you maintain a habit for 6 weeks, there are much better odds that it will turn into a permanent habit. 6 weeks! Come on! It's hardly anything. We can do it! Don't really like the enthusiasm or lack thereof.
I've also heard that getting in the habit of drinking a glass of water before meals helps if your full reflex isn't very strong. And that while you're eating, if you notice that you let out a sigh at some point, then that's a sign that your body is content, so you can stop eating around there. Exactly. Also, if you're eating something super gross, like beans, then you probably just, don't overeat because they're nasty.
Oh, can someone please genetically engineer us a bean that tastes like a cheeseburger with grilled cheese sandwiches instead of buns?
Yes. Oh my God. Why has nobody done this yet? They would be a
Right?
bajillionaire. All right. If someone in a food lab somewhere is listening and wants to run with that one, please save us from the dirt poop taste of beans. And hey, if you become a bajillionaire in the process, we'll take a very modest cut of that since it was Eritris's idea after all, and I was like here when it happened. So
Yeah, just get in touch with our lawyer.
wait a minute. Chickpeas. Chickpeas are beans, right? Garbanzo beans?
Yes.
I eat hummus. I'm saved.
Oh.
Woo! This was not looking good for a while, but maybe I'm sort of in the middle of the scale of dying young.
Beans to the rescue.
Don't call them beans. Oh, and didn't you say the other day that tea drinkers scored well for this stuff?
Yes, antioxidants and
If that's the case, I really am going to live to 1,000. If you poked a little hole in me, I'm pretty sure it would just be tea that would pour out.
Ew. That's gross. I'm a little teapot, short and full of tea.
I am a little teapot. Have there been any studies on, totally 100% human people who exist on a diet of tea and the blood of mortals? I'd be interested in those results. Asking for a friend.
Okay. Not really sure why that was so specific, but listen, there's a lot more tips and tricks and pointers and junk in that book, but frankly, you're going to have to read them your damn self because there's only so much mental bandwidth I can take up to synthesize all of this bummer information for you.
Yeah, and I don't read, so get depressed and hopeless on your own damn time. Or I don't know, maybe you like beans and you're fine. I don't know your life.
Yeah. Also, hey, reading helps you live longer. Maybe I made that up just now. Why don't you read a book and find out?
You can't make me. That's what podcasts are for. Anyone out there that it's also looking kind of bleak for, email in at deathpartypodcast@gmail.com and let me know if you want in on my snake cult when I get that started. I'm not going to stop eating little cakes, but if we get into some weird religious shit, maybe things will balance out.
Oh, loophole. What if the cake eating is part of the weekly religious meeting?
Yes! Snake cake cult.
Snake cake cult. Snake cake cult. Snake cake cult.
Cakes are not guaranteed to be made out of snakes. Implication of snakes and cakes extending longevity, not legally binding. If you like us, if we haven't traumatized you yet, if you want more of our bizarre dad joke brand of whatever this is, then help us help you get more of what you want by giving us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. And tell your friends. If they're as weird as you are, they might like us too. If you want to join our Facebook group to find other weirdos like you, Or follow our Facebook page or Instagram. We're on all of those at Death Party Podcast. And we're on Twitter at Death Party Pod, just to be difficult. If you want to email us your amazing idea for an episode, love letters, hate mail, fan art, or your soul, you're not really using it anyway, you can send those to us at deathpartypodcast@gmail.com. Bye!
Bye.
No, I have to listen because you're telling lies.
All right, I'll talk about something you hate.
Okay. Beans.
Beans. Remember when we ate those beans and they were delicious?
Ew, gross. I'm tuning out.
Remember that guy who went by Mr. Bean? That was my first date ever.
Date?
Yes.
With Mr.
You
Bean.
watched
No. Yes, we went. You'd be surprised how responsive he is to email. Before email existed.